When it comes to self-help, you want to get right to the point. The workbook from author Alicia Puzzany, Emotional Strength Explained, can help you see results quickly instead of overthinking or operating from a naive, unsure, or people-pleasing state where you look for immediate gratification. With the help of this workbook, you can become stronger emotionally. Whether you're embarking on something new or working through things with yourself or others, understanding what makes you, you is the crucial first step in coming out on top. Your emotions don't have to control your life. You can learn a better way. With this workbook, you'll work toward a stronger, more confident, less needy you. It's for adolescents, teenagers, adults, and seniors. This is an easy-to-use workbook. With just a few minutes each day, you can become stronger and feel better. You can use this workbook over and over through various areas and stages of your life. Life isn't easy. When times get tough, we need to dig deep and utilize our emotional strength. Emotional Strength Explained from author Alicia Puzzany. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon and the author's website, aliciapuzzany.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We got some breaking news today. You know, this is just disgusting to me, okay? I'll read the headline. We'll talk about this. We're going to go through the whole story. Donald Trump, Don Jr., and Ivanka must testify under oath as part of a probe into whether the family business inflated property prices, New York judge rules. Okay. I'm going to read through this story. When you are a property owner, you do not value your own property. Your property is valued by your local property appraiser. It is valued by banks who loan you money to mortgage, for a mortgage for that property. They do an appraisal and value it. Now, you can sell your house for whatever you can sell it for, right? If you have a house that's a one-room shack and you want to list it for $1.5 million, you can do that. So whatever the price of these Trump properties are, they were not setting the values. This is done through many other things. But we'll go through this story. But this attorney general in New York is just corrupt. When she was running for attorney general, remember I was looking for this audio. I could not find it right before the show. I'm gonna have to look harder for it, but it's been buried by the powers that be. But she promised on the campaign trail to sue Donald Trump if she was elected Attorney General of New York.
That's right.
And she's been harassing him ever since. And now she's got another campaign coming up. So I have never seen someone that is in a law enforcement position, which an attorney general is, they're a prosecutor, who was so abusive and corrupt in using their power. And the media hate Donald Trump so much that when these stories come out, they don't even question the attorney general. They're so excited that Trump and Don Jr. and Ivanka are going to be under oath, and they get their fantasies that they're going to be in perjury traps, and it's all going to
Well, do they
fall
have
apart
to
for
say
them.
anything? Can't they just sit there and plead the fifth like Alex Jones did 100 times?
Well, there's different types of courts, there's.
I mean, they can't force you to talk, can they? You have a right to not incriminate yourself.
It depends, not necessarily. In a civil case, you can't take the fifth.
Is this a civil?
Well, we'll find out.
Okay.
It might be a mix of both. Let me read the article. A federal judge in New York has ruled that former President Donald Trump and two of his adult children must testify into a probe of his business dealings. Judge Arthur F. N. Gorin ruled on the matter. Can you look up that judge's name? Let's see who appointed this guy, because they aren't telling us here, which means he's got to be.
What's his name?
Judge Arthur F., and his last name is E.N. Goron. They're not telling us who appointed him in the article. I'm hoping it's not a Trump judge. I doubt this is a Trump judge. Biden judge, Clinton judge, Bush judge. Is it coming up?
Yeah, hold on.
It should tell you who appointed him and what year. It should show up.
He's in the New York Supreme Court.
Oh, okay. So he's not. He is a federal judge, so he was appointed by a president. Let me see. Let me look on your. Let me look on your.
There's a lot of things, but nobody's telling me who appointed him.
I can't pull up on my iPad because I'm reading this article. I'll lose it. Let me see here. Let me type in his name again. See, we should have done this before, but we didn't. Hey, it's live, people. Let me see here. Judge.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Well, they just will not leave.
No, they're never going to leave
President
him
Trump alone
because they fantasize that he will end up in jail someday, and they're not going to stop until they make that fantasy come true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
People are,
That's true.
Everybody wants to be, because in their mind, the person who takes Trump down is the hero of the left and the savior of their cause. So everybody wants to be that person.
I'm not finding anything about this, and I'm a little. I'm not sure what his background is. It says federal judge here, but I'm getting a bunch of stuff about New York. I don't know. We'll have to look him up later. Okay. You guys can let us know in the comments.
Yeah. If you guys know, let us know.
Yeah, I just can't look it up while we're doing the show. New York Attorney General Letitia James, the most corrupt person to ever be Attorney General of anything, argued that all Don Jr., Ivanka, and President Trump all possess vital information about Trump's business dealings and assets. She has already accused Trump of boosting valuations on financial statements when seeking lending. Well, that's the bank's problem. You know, when you go to get a loan from a bank and you're using property as collateral or something, the bank determines what they believe the building to be worth. And I've explained this to people before. If Donald Trump owns the building and it has his name on it, and it's right next door to an identical building, the only difference is Trump doesn't own it. The building that Trump owns, because Trump owns it, is worth more money. Mm-hmm. You know, because Donald Trump owns it. You know, it's like that John Voight car on Seinfeld.
Yeah, I don't understand all this with the valuation of property, and I don't understand the crime here.
Because there isn't
happening.
One.
So,
because there isn't one.
Maybe I just don't know about these things, but I don't really understand.
Know about them.
This is not much ado about nothing. Nothing's going to happen.
This is a corrupt woman.
Here you have Hillary, who, she's using her position, Letitia James, for personal vendettas. Is what's going on here.
She's going to end up in big trouble one day. She's going to go too far. She's too political in her process.
You have a lot of these very liberal DAs around the country. They have a problem with the other one in New York too, that are wielding their power. I think they're a little too heavy-handed.
Yeah, this is back to the Daily Mail. Trump is no stranger to depositions. He answered questions for 4.5 hours last year in a case brought by men who claim they were assaulted by security at Trump Tower. His other adult son, Eric, previously testified in the civil case and repeatedly invoked the Fifth more than 500 times. Very smart, according to a filing by the New York Attorney General. Don Jr. and Eric ran the Trump Organization, along with now indicted executive Alan Weiselberg, while Trump was serving as president. The decision comes after a bombshell filing on Monday that revealed Trump's longtime accounting firm had quit, and the 10 years of financial statements could not be relied on. The reason they quit, President Trump talked about this, is they were being so harassed they couldn't function as an entity. So they had to quit working for him so they could keep their business going.
Right, and it probably was so time-consuming with all this nonsense that they just had to cut him loose.
Yeah. While undoubtedly helpful for prosecutors, James has already been able to obtain a trove of information through subpoenas and interviews with other company officials. She was able to obtain a wealth of tax and financial information from Trump's longtime accounting firm following a case that went to the Supreme Court. And nothing has leaked out from those taxes. It's been over a year, which means there was nothing wrong with them. Today, justice prevailed, Letitia James says in a statement. Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump have been ordered by the court to comply with our lawful investigation. The fact that she has to say lawful tells you it's unlawful. Mm-hmm. With our lawful investigation into Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization's financial dealings. No one will be permitted to stand in the way of the pursuit of justice, no matter how powerful they are. No one is above the law, she added. Under the order, the three must appear within 21 days. The judge also ordered Donald Trump Jr. to produce additional documents within 2 weeks. Trump this week accused James of vicious intimidation tactics against his longtime firm. That's true, the accounting firm. Trump said... It goes on and on and on. Let me skip down. Trump in his statement...
They're never going to give this man a moment's peace.
Yeah.
Do you think he regrets getting into politics? Do you
No.
think there's moments, not even for a blip,
No.
where he just thinks,
Nope.
this is just not worth it?
Nope.
You don't think so at all?
No, I think he is very pleased that he has been able to show how corrupt this country is. I mean,
That's true.
Our government, the Democrat part of it, it's like a banana republic.
It is.
I mean, the Democrats are so here. We have this week. You think this is a coincidence? This week, Hillary Clinton was exposed by John Durham to be involved in a spy ring against the sitting president of the United States, and then all of a sudden, some judge comes and orders Don Jr., Ivanka, and President Trump to testify so they can have some kind of high profile. When this happens, okay, when the Trumps have to give this deposition. Now, President Trump may not have to physically appear because he's a president. They may do it.
Like security issues.
They may come down to Mar-a-Lago and get his or something.
They might do all of them in Florida. They might
Don Jr.
He lives down here.
Nope. Letitia James wants a perp walk. She wants someone walking between cameras,
right.
and down a hallway, upstairs, somewhere in front of cameras to go in and look like they're John Gotti.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Ivanka and Don Jr. are going to be forced to do a perp walk by Letitia James because she promised to sue Trump.
Yeah.
Vote for me, I'll sue Trump. He's done nothing wrong, but I'll sue him.
Incredible.
Vote for me if you hate Trump. It is so scary to see how corrupt this country is.
Yeah. It's always coming from the left.
Always.
Yeah. That's the common denominator. It's always coming from the left, and they love power and they love abusing their power. Hillary Clinton now, I think she gave a speech today. I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't care.
I'm not interested in anything she has to say.
But of course, she said that another right-wing conspiracy, this is in People magazine, Hillary Clinton says Trump is desperately spinning up a fake scandal to distract from his own misdeeds. So
That's
what
her
happened
tweet
is,
yesterday. That was her tweet.
All this stuff came out. I guess she gave a speech, but I didn't see it, and I haven't found anything.
She didn't talk about this in the speech.
Okay. So what happened is this all came out last week, and she was off. She didn't tweet anything for a few days because a couple people had pointed that out, that she hadn't tweeted anything for 3 days.
Do you believe she actually tweets herself?
Well, yeah, and she has nothing else to do. And
drink.
What happened is she waited for Vanity Fair to write an article defending her and attacking Trump. See, Vanity Fair hates Trump like poison. I mean, every article about him is so malicious, and I mean, I can't even get through them sometimes. They're so awful. I have read a few, but they hate him like there's no tomorrow. And what she did is she didn't tweet anything, and she waited for Vanity Fair to come out and tell her side of the story while maligning him and how he's crazy and all this stuff they keep saying. Yeah. And then she tweets that article with her statement referring to the article. Well, she got them to write it for her. I mean,
obviously.
That's what she does. She has friends in the media, and she probably called around. And Vanity Fair is very well known and, has, I guess, some respectability in the media world. And she got them to write an article on her behalf attacking Trump. So she, and so that's what she was waiting on, for an article to come out that she got her friends to write. So it doesn't matter what she says or what she thinks. What matters is legally what's going to happen and what comes out in this report. My advice to Trump, he probably won't take it.
You never know.
Is to just not comment on this right now and lay low, and just because, sometimes when he says things, it doesn't help. I think he just should sit back and let the process unfold on its own and wait for the conclusion to occur. Yeah. That's my personal opinion. Just sit back, enjoy the show, get the popcorn, and just see what happens, because she's going to react to him. And the more he comes out and makes statements, but he won't take this advice because he that's what he does. But when he comes out and makes statements or says things, she's going to react, and it's going to be this back and forth. And I don't want him to give her any kind of a platform or any kind of a way to respond to him to defend herself. I would like him to just not say a word, and because when she keeps responding to him, she's just going to keep saying, well, he's crazy and he's making this up. So I think he should just lay low, and that way she has to respond to Durham and not to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
that's my opinion.
Well, Truth Social will be starting up in just a few weeks. It could be starting up this month or next month. It's in beta phase now, so Trump's already on there.
He already put
but we can't see it.
A truth, whatever they call it.
Yeah, a truth is what they call their tweets.
So he put that's clever. He put out a truth already.
When Truth Social, though, goes live for everyone, he's going to be commenting on everything in real time, just like the old days.
I cannot wait.
And I wonder if the media will carry his tweet truths from Truth Social like they used to carry Twitter.
They won't be able to help themselves.
I think. Yeah, they'll try to ignore it in the beginning because they don't want to give Truth Social publicity. But they're not going to be able – because when something like this happens, he's going to be commenting on it in real time on Truth Social. They're going to have to cover it, because that's what everyone's going to want to hear.
Well, she's definitely going to run because she mentioned Trump. Do you want me to play this? This is on Twitter.
Do we have to hear Mrs. Clinton?
And she's talking about books. And then, of course, at the end, she mentions Trump.
How long is it? I don't like to hear – listen, Hill. You got to put it up to the mic.
30 seconds.
Oh, that's too much Hillary Clinton, but I'll suffer.
She's screaming and yelling.
They will do nothing to invest in our schools or make college more affordable. They'll ban books, but do nothing about guns. They'll make it harder for people to vote, but easier for big corporations to bust unions. They'll let polluters trash our environment and let Donald Trump trash our democracy. That's why I intend to work my heart out to elect Democrats up and down the ticket this November.
Yeah, she sounds like she's got energy again.
If she's going to help if she's going to campaign for these congresspersons and senators, she's definitely planning on running. Well, she's getting back into politics.
It's an interesting, Hillary Clinton's got a list of problems. Those problems were
about a mile long.
Those were the same things that President Clinton ran on in 1992.
Well, so they have the hot button issues that they always talk about.
They've been in public life for 30 years, and they haven't solved one of their little hot button issues there. They had the Million Mom March. Remember all of that?
Well, this is what I worry about. Biden is she's definitely planning on running. She's getting back into politics. It's pretty clear.
No doubt.
And this whole thing with Durham, who knows where it'll lead. The other day I thought, she'll never run because she won't want to face Trump. But I didn't think she was going to come out and just completely deny everything. So that's, it's clear. I think she's going to run. And what she's doing now, she's campaigning for these people and trying to help them. To me, that's a clear indication. But Trump has a couple problems with this. I'm not saying she can win, but Joe Biden is so bad, that Hillary looks amazing next to him. And they're going to prop her up as the savior of the Democratic Party. And she is going to have more good publicity than she's ever had in her life because the Democrats are desperate for somebody and they love her. The media loves her. So, and they'll learn from their mistakes from the first time around. And that's the thing, when you lose, you learn from your mistakes and you correct those. And I think Hillary has that ability to look at something and say, I did that wrong. I'm going to look at it a different way. Yeah. So she's coming in with that whole experience of running against Trump. Before, she didn't know what to expect. Nobody did. Now she does. And then the other problem Trump has with it is January 6th. She will bring that up over and over and over and over again. And that is a stain in their minds on him, on us. So it's going to be another battle of wills, but I think that's a pretty clear indication.
Well, nobody likes her except the media.
The Democrats
and nobody
love her.
likes them. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Looking for a great podcast to listen to on your drive home from work? The Blah Blah Bunker is a podcast that features interviews with regular people who have extraordinary stories to tell. Host Almar Himerson is one of them. In 25 years, he's gone from Icelandic lawyer and airline CEO to tattooed, bearded meat enthusiast with a startup in Central Europe. On the way, he's made plenty of stops and cultivated a habit of running into interesting people and asking them interesting questions. Nothing is off limits in the Blah Blah Bunker, and Almar may ask questions that most people wouldn't dare to ask. He interviews all kinds of people of diverse nationalities from all over the planet who are gambling experts, professional athletes, psychics, therapists, NASDAQ CEOs, singers, entertainers, and more. It's an eclectic show that features interesting people you will want to listen to. Check it out right now. The Blah Blah Bunker, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Add the Blah Blah Bunker to your playlist right now. The search for the most dangerous book in the world is about to begin. From authors Wayne E. Haley and Sean P. Haley comes An Apology to Lucifer, now available for sale at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Apple Books, and on the book's official website, anapologytolucifer.com. In An Apology to Lucifer, Father Thomas Morelli thought he knew the story behind Lucifer's fall from heaven. However, upon making the acquaintance of renowned book authenticator Lorenzo Pellegrini and being invited to stay in the opulent Venice villa belonging to Pellegrini's master, Thomas discovers he has only heard part of the story. In Boston, psychoanalyst, best-selling author, and outspoken atheist David Wright has been tasked to handle the funeral arrangements of his dear friend Albert Kennedy. What could have driven this controversial exorcist to take his own life? The answer, it seems, is contained in a book that isn't supposed to exist. Joining forces, Lorenza, David, and Thomas must race against time to prevent an ancient battle from reigniting. If you enjoyed The Da Vinci Code, you will love this book, An Apology to Lucifer. The most anticipated supernatural thriller of 2022 is now available at BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon, Apple Books, and on the book's official website, anapologytolucifer.com. Order your copy right now. Do you want to be a director? Have you been trying to get into directing television or films? Maybe you're interested in how it all works. If so, there's a podcast you will want to add to your playlist. The Directors Podcast with your host, Jeff T. Thomas. The Directors Podcast is a 13-episode limited series featuring some of the most talented television and film directors in the industry. All episodes are available right now. Part 1 features the story of how each director broke into the business. Part 2 is a discussion, director to director, about their process, as well as highlighting some of the most defining moments of their careers. The Directors Podcast is fascinating and enlightening. Listen to industry secrets, get tips on how you can make it in the amazing business of television and film directing. The Directors Podcast with your host, Jeff T. Thomas, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast platform. Add the Directors Podcast to your playlist right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So here we go. We got more information. Hillary's out there talking. I told you guys when this Durham story broke the other day, you're going to hear Hillary all over the place. She's got to act like she's not worried about anything because she got caught, right? And here's another story out of the Daily Mail just broke. The more trouble Trump gets into, Trump's not in any trouble, but anyway, the more trouble Trump gets into, the wilder conspiracy theories about me get. Hillary uses comeback speech to tear into Durham spying claims, saying Republicans are backing coup plotters and doing nothing for families, and the U.S. is dangerously divided.
No, Joe Biden's doing nothing for families.
Yeah,
so.
that good luck. Good luck, Mrs. Clinton.
She said Clinton claimed the spying accusations against her are a conspiracy to distract from Trump's legal woes. She took the stage at New York Democratic Convention on Thursday. We can't get distracted, whether it's by the latest culture war nonsense or some new right-wing lie. She added the more trouble Trump gets into, Clinton didn't discuss intentions about running for president and instead criticized the GOP. After the speech, she invited New York Governor Kathy Hochul on stage, blah, blah, blah. A small crowd booed and chanted, lock her up when she arrived.
That New York governor.
Oh, she's a train wreck.
She's really bad. Now, I wanted to share this story here.
God help us, Hillary again.
And, most of the news is plagiarism these days, right? One person writes something, and then all the other news outlets copy and paste it.
Yes.
And there's a story here about Mike Lindell that is not true.
We're going to debunk it right now.
No, not that one. Another one. That's another story.
We should debunk that one too.
We'll do that one second. Now, this is the National Post, and this story is reported in dozens of news sources this morning about Mike Lindell. And I'm going to read this to you, then I'll tell you what's inaccurate about it. MyPillow CEO and staunch Donald Trump supporter Mike Lindell, as well as a truck full of 10,000 MyPillows, were denied entry into Canada Tuesday evening while trying to join the Ottawa Freedom Convoy protest, the National Post has learned. This is a Canadian paper. A senior government source said that Mike Lindell, as well as an accompanying videographer, were intercepted at the border crossing
RSBN.
on Tuesday evening as they were en route to Ottawa to distribute pillows and Bibles to convoy protesters. They were going to – no, there's another thing wrong in here. It was pillows and My Pillow Bible pillows for children, not Bibles. On the same day, a My Pillow truck carrying over 10,000 pillows, including 1,000 Bible pillows, destined for the truckers' children, was also intercepted to cross the border through the Ambassador Bridge in Ontario. According to the senior government source, Lindell was turned back because he was not fully vaccinated and did not have a negative PCR test in hand. And they go on to tell you that Mike Lindell is planning on dropping pillows into Canada in an airdrop by helicopter or small aircraft.
Like in WKRP with the turkey drop.
Now, this morning, when I got off the air, I got an email from Mike Lindell's office. His assistant emailed me and said that Mike Lindell gave an interview to, I believe it was the Daily Beast, and he jokingly said that he was going to do an airdrop of pillows. That he was going to fly helicopters into Canada filled with pillows, drop pillows with tiny parachutes on them.
That would be
to the Freedom Truckers, and they ran
the pillows would fly. They're pillows. They're light.
Yeah.
They're not like rocks. They would, he'd have to bunch them up in a big thing and be heavy enough to go straight down. That's crazy.
And they ran with these stories.
Yeah.
This story it was in the Daily Beast. I've seen it picked up in many other sources.
That's hilarious.
That he was going to have tiny little parachutes on the pillows, and they were going to drop them over the Freedom Truckers in Canada by helicopter.
Oh my gosh.
None of this is true, people, okay? None of this is true.
Yeah, we heard that from his assistant personally today. It's not true. He was joking.
They thought
liberals have no sense of humor. You know that. They have no sense of humor. They take everything literally.
Well, it's not only that they have no sense of humor, they think too literally. They're not brilliant thinkers, liberals, anymore.
No.
Liberals used to think a little bit more than they do now.
They just, because they're going through the prism, and I'll use Mayor Adams' term, they're going through a prism of how we can make Trump and his friends look bad. So they just are constantly looking for something like that, and anything they can use, they'll go with it. They don't care if it's how stupid it sounds.
Well, I saw this article in Breitbart today about the Democrats. I thought it was very interesting. Listen to this. Democrats across the nation are embarrassed about the perception of the Democrat Party's growing toxicity.
They should be.
The Democrat Party, which has pushed wokeism, open borders, police defunding, and coronavirus mandates, is specifically struggling with rural voters throughout the nation. The struggles have been reported by the Associated Press and Politico in 2 articles over 2 days, alerting Democrat Party leaders of the impending doom come November's midterm elections. The trend lines are very, very bad. Now the brand, the Democrat Party as a brand, is so toxic that people who are Democrats, the ones left, aren't fighting for the party, says former North Dakota Senator Heidi Heitkamp to the AP. We're letting Republicans use the language of the far left to define the Democrat Party, and we can't do that. In Pennsylvania, a local voter told the AP the grand dislike of Democrats is momentous. The hatred for Democrats is just unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's all their own doing.
It's
all their own doing. Trump's not even on Twitter or social media bashing them. They're doing it all themselves.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for it. I'm not going to go through a long list of why that is. But it's like CNN. CNN, that brand is damaged beyond repair.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Democrat Party is damaged beyond repair as a brand. And, CNN, okay, what CNN could do, what they need to do is fire everyone on the air and off the air, start with an entirely new staff, completely downsize what they're doing. And then if they brought in good people, CNN means something, and it would be a respectable brand. It can be
They have to purge the whole network and rebuild it from the ground up.
The off-the-air people, too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that whole network's just completely poisoned.
And let me tell you, I've been around these CNN people. It's not just the on-air staff and the producers. Even the cameramen, even the interns are like liberal, nasty, vile people.
and Fox had issues too with the sexual harassment and all this stuff. There seems to be a culture of this kind of behavior, and I'm sure it's not just only on the national level, but some local markets too, of this culture with the men and the women. And I think there's different factors involved. You have good-looking people that have money, that have power, and they're all there. They spend a lot of time together, and I think this kind of stuff just kind of happens where these things occur. But they need to purge the whole network. Like I said, I think it's completely tainted, and maybe they will do that. And because it's
Well, and the
it's pretty bad.
And the Democrats, they need a purge too. Now, I want to play this audio. Sure. This is AOC. She was online talking about what she's been doing. Listen to this. This is one of many reasons why the Democrat brand is damaged beyond repair with the current makeup of the Democrat Party. AOC.
What I can say is that as an elected official, I've been one of the most vocal members of Congress on inclusion of a path to citizenship for the over 11 million, potentially upwards of 13 million immigrants, undocumented people in the United States. We've thrown everything on the line, and not just in a path to citizenship, but we've also fought for the inclusion. We fought tooth and nail for the inclusion of undocumented people in relief packages, stimulus checks.
See that now? Okay, I'm not going to play anymore. All of that is why they're in trouble. And I'll just take the last one first. AOC saying that she and others have been fighting to give U.S. government stimulus checks to illegal aliens, illegal immigrants.
It's a problem.
That ticks people off.
Yeah, especially when they're having trouble just paying the bills and buying food.
And you listen to and she's not done. I can't listen to any more of AOC, but this whole little rant that AOC went on, everything that she's talking about there is talking about what they're doing for non-Americans, people that aren't even in the country yet, people that are here illegally, as opposed to helping people that are here. And, I'm no Democrat. I don't support Democrats. But look at how Sinema and Manchin behaved this week. That's like the old-fashioned Democrats that are American. Right. Mm-hmm. You can be a Democrat and be America first. But the Democrat Party has been hijacked by these radical revolutionary types.
Yeah. They just see us as just an endless piggy bank. And we have to fund these people and these causes that we don't agree with at all. I mean, they just take our money and just give it out to all these people that aren't even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think Americans across the board, a lot of them are just really fed up. And the people that agree with her are just people that probably don't work and live off the dole anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And,
they don't care. It doesn't cost them anything.
It's not that people disrespect immigrants. Melania is an immigrant. Kathy's mother is a U.S. citizen. She's a legal immigrant. Kathy's mother immigrated to the United States in the late 1960s. It took her many years to become a U.S. citizen, even when she had Kathy's an anchor baby. And
my brother was the anchor baby.
Yeah,
you
and your brother are both anchor babies. But she still had to.
I guess. She was a Canadian when we were born. So my brother actually, and I could do this too.
You're an anchor baby.
My brother actually has dual citizenship because my mother was Canadian when he was born, and she was Canadian when I was born. So I could actually get dual citizenship if I wanted to from Canada.
Maybe you could.
I could. My brother got it a few years ago.
Republicans and MAGA people are not opposed to immigration. The problem is illegal immigration. And this path to citizenship, there is a path. Kathy's mother went down that path. Melania went down that path. There's
millions of people.
There's a legal path. There's not, what they want is just to say, okay, you're here, you're a citizen.
Well, they bring them in illegally, and then they want to take care of them all and give them all kinds of free stuff. You got to wonder, I think part of it is they have something going on with voting or whatever. They have other things. But I also feel like they just have a strong urge to have power over people and to just constantly take care of people.
People wonder why.
It's like an arrogance.
People wonder why they advocate for illegals.
Yeah.
There's a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. some of them are reasons that people don't talk about.
Right.
One, if you remember, President Trump didn't want the illegals counted in the census, and the Democrats fought hard for that. And the reason that is the illegals they get counted in the census, and that's how the congressional districts are allocated.
Right.
Okay, so that helps them with that.
Sure.
Also, all of the federal funds they
There's many reasons.
When there's a bunch of illegal immigrants in your community, their kids are in school. That's boatloads of thousands of dollars per person for each student. So there's all kinds of financial corruption going on
all levels.
And those are just two reasons. I mean, you could go on. We could probably make a list all day of reasons why, but none of them are good. And it's just Democrat Party corruption. And this Democrat brand, if they let Sinema and Manchin become like the party leadership, as opposed to AOC, the Squad, Pelosi, Schumer, the Democrat brand would be repaired.
But why is Joe Biden and these people, why are they aligning themselves with these radicals when they clearly know it doesn't work? Now we're reading articles, like you said, of Democrats are rethinking, they're pulling back, they're lifting mandates, they're changing course because 30 have retired or retiring because their policies are not working. I read an article the other day where they're saying people on the inside in the White House are telling Joe Biden he needs to fire a bunch of his staff and bring in new people because he has these radical militant people telling him what to do, and it's not working. So clearly they're understanding that aligning with these people is a problem. And I think if they got back to more to center, more like Clinton, more like they used to be, I'm just saying objectively, it would help their party. Because what they're doing now is not helping, and I don't understand why Joe Biden can't take the reins of this party. Why is he being led instead of doing the leading? He is just so. Did you see this energy secretary he appointed? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy's a drag queen. It's fine. I have nothing against drag queens. Okay, whatever. I don't know any, but whatever. Live and let live. This guy's very, drag queeny, whatever. You think he appointed him because he's qualified or no, he is pandering to all these subgroups that they have in the Democratic Party. He's not appointing people because they're talented or because they're going to do a good job. He's appointing them because he's pandering to that group, to the LGBT community. And people in that community might say, well, who cares? He's still appointing the guy. But that's how he's making decisions to run the country, is based on filling a certain demographic or pandering to a certain group or being able to say, well, I was the first person that did this. That's not how you run a country successfully. You hire the most talented people to do the best job possible, not some woke liberal drag queen that's a feel-good thing. I don't know. I don't understand what he's doing.
Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
What you wear can say a lot about who you are. You can express your personality and style with a collection of t-shirts and hoodies at Moonlight T Designs on Etsy.com. Whatever kind of t-shirts and hoodies you like, they have them. Moonlight T Designs on Etsy have something for everyone. You can head out of the door with a shirt or hoodie that you're proud of and experience the joy of comfort wherever you go. Moonlight T Designs on Etsy was inspired by the love of animals. The items are very positive and funny. Everything is made with premium, soft, and soothing fabric that feels great. The shirts and hoodies are breathable, comfortable, and always in style. They have different color options to choose from. Everything in the shop makes a great gift for a friend or loved one. Worldwide delivery is available. Go to the shop right now online at Etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs. That's the letter T. Etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs. View the inventory and take your casual look to a new level with t-shirts and hoodies from Moonlight T Designs on Etsy. Etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs. From author Devinder Kaur comes your next must-read book, Forced to Marry Him, A Lifetime of Tradition and the Will to Break It. Available on Amazon. In the late 1980s, Devinder Kaur was forced to marry a man she didn't know. But when she was only 14 years old, the marriage was arranged and set to occur when she turned 18. After 4 long years of internal turmoil and despair, she had 2 choices: adhere to the customs and traditions of her family or risk bringing dishonor to their home. Devinder didn't like either option, so she made a plan to survive. In the book, Forced to Marry Him, the author tells of the pain, lies, and betrayal she suffered at the hands of those who were meant to protect her most. But her story doesn't end there. Devinder's willingness to speak out and fight not only saved her life, but the lives of many other women and young girls over the years. She offers courage and strength to those who can't advocate for themselves, and she works with organizations all over the world to help end arranged and forced marriages. The author gives a voice to the voiceless as she breaks down walls to eradicate cultural and traditional abuse. This book is perfect for book clubs. Forced to Marry Him, A Lifetime of Tradition and the Will to Break It, from author Devinder Kaur. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. You can also find the author on Twitter and Instagram at LUCHANIK or visit her website LUCHANIK.com. Making friends is so important to little kids. It helps them develop healthy and important social skills at an early age. The book from retired preschool teacher and author Cindy Van Order, Coco Bear Makes a Friend. Available on Amazon. Follows the lovable 3-year-old bear on his quest to find a friend to play with. Join Coco Bear and his new, very colorful friend, Flutterby, as they take on exciting adventures together, with Mama Bear's permission, of course. Who knows what fun things they will discover. This is author Cindy Van Order's first book in her children's series, The Adventures of Coco Bear and Flutterby, and is filled with adorable illustrations by her stepdaughter Annie. This book is perfect for children 2 to 5 years old, at home or for classroom reading. Coco Bear Makes a Friend, from author and retired preschool teacher Cindy Van Order. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Broadcasting from sunny South Florida, Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I just read this article on Drudge, which I rarely go to. You know Joe Rogan's $100 million deal with Spotify?
Yeah.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Spotify's massive, this is from the Drudge Report, Spotify's massive contract for Joe Rogan is reportedly worth upwards of $200 million, double what the deal was previously thought to be worth. The New York Times reported Thursday.
That's a lot of money.
Joe Rogan's contract covers 3.5 years of exclusivity on his podcast for the streaming giant. $200 million for 3.5 years?
That's obscene. I'm sorry.
We're underpaid, Kathy.
That's just obscene.
The New York Times...
They could get us for a lot less.
Yeah. The New York Times story tracks Spotify's quest to become the #1 podcast platform, which has included the acquisition of several major podcasting companies and has only been aided by the Joe Rogan Experience, which the company says has been its biggest podcast in more than 90 countries. But the show has been riddled with problematic themes. And it goes on and on. I mean, my goodness.
Well, you know,
everybody's
there's a lot of podcasts, and they're very lucrative, and people subscribe to Spotify
$200
around
million?
the world. Yeah, but people subscribe from around the world. And all this publicity he is getting is good for Spotify. You know how much money they're making? You know how many people have listened? I've had a lot of people message me and tell me, well, I've never listened to Joe Rogan, but I'm going to start listening now. I mean, all this publicity that he's getting is just making them even more money. That's why the CEO isn't going to get rid of him, because it's all about the money. I mean, they're making a freaking fortune off this guy. And, you know, people are going to be outraged. That's the way it is. But if they stick it out and they don't cancel him and they keep him on there, eventually things calm down and people get bored and they move on to somebody else.
Well, you know, we were talking last week, that N-word thing surfaced with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan
He wrote that out.
Well, Joe Rogan made history in this country. He is the first white man to survive an N-word controversy like that. I've never seen it happen before. No. And I'm not exactly sure why. It's not because he apologized.
Company stood by him. The company stood by him.
I guess they felt like they wouldn't be able to shake them down, but I've never seen that happen before. Now, I want to talk a minute here, though, about this Bob Saget thing, okay? And
very strange.
This story with Bob Saget.
I have more information on that.
Okay, to me, based on what we know, this man was murdered. And maybe murdered somewhere else and brought to the hotel room. But the original story was that he died peacefully in his sleep in his hotel after doing a comedy show. And then we heard that he had a skull fracture and had like a bleeding brain and a brain aneurysm, died from that. And then we hear that he had multiple skull fractures that it would be consistent with a major car accident or being hit with a baseball bat multiple times.
Or falling 30 feet.
Yeah, off a building or something, or a flight of stairs.
Which he probably would not survive.
And if any of those things happened, he wouldn't have been able to walk to his room. And now the family has come out and they're trying to suppress the autopsy from being released. Now, that may be they don't want photographs of Bob Saget after he passed released. That may be that. I don't know. But
maybe that, I wouldn't like that either.
You guys can let us know in the comments what your theories are on this. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Bob Saget was murdered. My theory would be this. Okay? This is what it sounds like.
Nobody carried him into the hotel unconscious. They have cameras. This is the Ritz-Carlton.
Well, we don't know for a fact.
Cameras everywhere.
We don't know for a fact what the condition of the hotel
He died
room
in that room.
Well,
he died in that room.
This may be what's happening. Some of this is speculation, and I have a theory. But this is a high-priced hotel he was in. So there's cameras.
Yeah, he's at the Ritz.
All over the place.
Yeah.
So I think chances are Bob Saget was with a lady of the night, and she showed up with her pimp daddy or something, and they robbed Bob Saget and killed him.
There's video cameras everywhere. That'll come out if somebody followed him, if somebody went into the room with him.
What they may be doing is they may have some video of the suspects, and they're sitting on it because they're working a case. They have some leads, and they don't want them released yet. I think the police very well could be – this is here in Florida. Well, they could be sitting on this for some reason, but there's no way this man was not murdered, Kathy.
I think that the reason the family, especially the wife, is trying to keep things from getting in the press because maybe they're afraid of something coming out that they don't want to come out. But they said on the news today they had Dr. Siegel on. I think that's not Dr. Siegel. That's your doctor? Who's the doctor that's on the news on Fox?
That's not my doctor.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm getting your
Dr. Mark Siegel.
Confused.
Dr. Mark Siegel's on Fox.
Okay. They had him on. And he teaches at NYU or something. So anyway, he said that he looked at the autopsy and he talked to some guy who's one of the best forensic doctors in the country. And Bob, this was new information that came out on Fox today, that Bob Saget's heart was twice normal size. Mm-hmm. He had a big history of in his family of heart problems. His brother died, his father's major heart issues in his family. And they didn't find any sedatives or anything in his system, but he was known to take some sedatives for sleeping.
They cause skull fractures?
No, but what he's saying is he thinks it's possible because his heart was enlarged. Maybe he had some kind of cardiac event and he fell and hit his head really hard on a counter or something or on a hard floor. He's a big guy, Bob Saget. He's like 6 foot something. He's heavy. He's not skinny anymore, but he's tall. And if your head is 6 foot 3 inches above the ground and you fall on a concrete floor, it's possible you could have done something like that. And then maybe but then they asked him, he said, if we would have hit his head that hard, would he be able to go back to bed and just act like nothing happened?
No, he wouldn't have been able to make it back to
There's all kinds of theories.
No, I think he was murdered. Multiple skull fractures. If you fall and hit your head, you get one fracture. You don't get fractures all around it.
Well, they think it was like a ricochet or like like he hit the back and it had like a ripple effect or something, the way they explained it. It sounded a little crazy. Never heard that. But that was this doctor's theory. But I think something strange happened. And like I said, there's video cameras all over these hotels. And if anybody went into his room, they will know. They will see it on there's cameras in the hallways. Not in the rooms, but in the main lobby, in the hallways. If you just watch the ID channel, they have these things all the time.
I'd like
if somebody went in his room, they'll know.
I'd like to see like Fox get Nancy Grace down there and investigate or something, or John Walsh. They got cops back.
They had Candace Cameron Bure.
I would take her. Anybody. The media are so lazy.
They are lazy.
You know.
Go down there. Send Phil Keating there. He's in Florida. Send him up there.
10 years ago, the CNN and other outlets would have crews in Florida covering the Bob Saget case. Was he murdered? What happened? Going to the medical examiner, trying to get press conferences going. And they just sit in their studios in New York and in Washington and talk about things and don't go out and do any reporting any longer.
No, they don't. They talk about things and they have talking heads on. And they just talk. They don't, like you said, they don't go like, why don't they send a reporter to the hotel like Phil Keating and go and do some investigating themselves and looking into it? You're right. That never happens anymore.
No. And what'll happen is it's like, just like with Alec Baldwin, right? John Schneider from Dukes of Hazzard, he did a great YouTube video demonstrating how the gun that Alec Baldwin killed the cinematographer with, how it can't fire on its own.
Yeah.
Someone on YouTube
I don't think any guns can fire
will start making YouTube videos about Bob Saget and how you can get head fractures like
Whenever these things happen, like it happened with Gabby Petito, you have tons of amateur sleuths.
Yes.
True crime's really big, and it'll be all over Reddit and all over message boards and all over YouTube. You will have, it's probably happening now, tons of amateur sleuths giving their 2 cents, trying to figure it out. So you guys be amateur sleuths and tell us in the comments what you think occurred. What we know now is he had multiple fractures on his skull that were consistent with a car accident or being hit with a baseball or falling 30 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now,
and he had an enlarged heart.
Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the episode description, okay? And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you on every single episode. And the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. Andrew and Connie, thank you very much for your support. Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Jacqueline, Rick, Rich, and Nick. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. And again, if you want to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description. Now, today I did a test stream with it was a private test stream just with a test stream, a tongue twister. I did a private test stream on YouTube. There, I got it that time. With some people from our Marco Polo group. Okay, you had to be in the Marco Polo group to take part in this. Our daughter, Emily, set me up here at home, upgrading my YouTube channel and everything, and I'm doing weekend live streams with live calls on my YouTube channel from home. And 2 of our Patreon supporters, Andrew and Connie, they're a married couple, they gave me this beautiful green screen that's like the best green screen made. And it's one of those green screens that folds up and down into this case that locks, and it's amazing. And I did a test stream for my weekend YouTube streams where I will be taking live calls. So if you do not already, please follow me on YouTube. I think you're going to really enjoy my weekend live streams, and I will be expanding them and doing many more things on YouTube than what I'm doing now. But these upgrades that my daughter did for me are just amazing. I'm really looking forward to streaming over the weekend so you guys can do that. But Brian Craig on YouTube, just search Brian Craig or The Brian Craig Show. There's another Brian Craig who must hate me. He's just, he spells his name differently, but you'll know which one is me. And you can catch my live streams over the weekend, which I've been doing live streams on the weekends quite a bit. But with this new setup I have with the green screen and everything, it's taken it to a whole new level. And it's pretty cool. And we did the test stream today with some of our followers on Marco Polo. It went very well. I wanted to test everything out with just a handful of people before I did the big one on the weekend. So just search Brian Craig or The Brian Craig Show on YouTube, and that will come up. All right, well, we are out of time for today. We'll be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening.
There's a podcast that you will want to add to your playlist, Warriors for Christ. That's the number 4. Warriors for Christ is a Christian podcast providing biblical teaching without the doctrines of man. In other words, they like to let the Bible explain itself. The format includes non-denominational readings and teachings from the Bible. They also have interviews and whatever the Lord puts on their hearts to present. Life in this world can be very stressful and filled with anxieties. Warriors for Christ will give you the biblical information you need to help deal with all life has to bring. Warriors for Christ confronts many false doctrines which are pervasive in this age and what some call the church in a box. And they also offer a full gospel ministry. Find Warriors for Christ on Podomatic, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Player FM, Stitcher, Deezer, Amazon Podcast, and Spotify. Warriors for Christ. Share the podcast on all of your social media so your friends can listen to Warriors for Christ. That's the number 4. Add it to your playlist right now.